Welcome to episode 71 of Nobody Special.
On this episode, we talk about Stranger Things, Independence Day, and boundaries.
The Gospel Outpost presents Nobody Special. Hey everyone, welcome to Nobody Special. I'm Danny, the head of the science department of Hawkins, and the host of Nobody Special.
And I'm Caleb, your other host of Nobody Special. This is a podcast where we find God in pop culture, politics, and everything in between, all while not taking any of it too seriously.
Hey Caleb, I super didn't say my intro part. Do we want to do it again or just power on?
Power on.
Power on. As host to Nobody's Talking About Somebody Who Matters. I'm Danny, and I have a dumb nickname, and here we go.
Wow.
Yeah. We did it.
Wait, you didn't say your part?
No, I super didn't say it.
What'd you say?
I just said I'm Danny, the host and the idiot of Nobody Special. So we're starting over, right?
No, we're powering through.
No, we're keeping this?
Yep.
No, okay.
Embarrassment.
Okay,
you do this to me all the time.
I do. I put in so many things just because I think it's funny.
Yeah.
Including anytime a thumbnail makes you look funny.
Yeah, no, it's annoying,
Those
right?
are the ones I edit. So on YouTube.
Today is Independence Day. Not
Yes.
for you, but for us it is.
Yes, we are taping this on Independence Day, so taping early because we didn't want fireworks.
Yeah.
But instead, we're just going to get the air turning on and off a lot.
Yeah.
It definitely picks up.
Yeah.
This has been...
So, well, first off, to our
Yes.
British friend out there, we just want to know, want you to know, there's no beef between us, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you were our enemy, but now we're friends, all right? And we're independent.
Oh,
so
throw
suck
your
it.
tea in the river. Yeah, no.
Just kidding. We love you.
Yeah, I was going to try and find something funny to say about Independence Day, but there really isn't anything to say.
America. That's the only thing you can say, right?
Best country in the world.
Whoa. Whoa.
Oh, yeah, we do have an international audience, except your country.
Yeah, we love your countries, too. This is rubbing up against the table leg, and it's really annoying.
So, Caleb, we have a new set, a new table, and a new everything else.
Well, it doesn't look that new. Mainly because...
Jeez, all right. No, that's
well,
fine.
Danny did throw up these because of what we're talking about today. We'll get to that later.
Right, but I moved.
Yeah, he moved. Well, I did too.
You finished a big project.
I did finish a big project.
We've both been able to sleep finally.
I know. I slept in until 10:40 today, and it was beautiful.
I slept until 6:30.
Because Danny
That's
is
just what I do. Yeah. No. So I need to apologize.
You need to apologize.
I need to apologize.
What'd you do this time?
Based on some things that I can't announce yet, I don't think. Because I don't think they've been announced at the place.
Oh. Yeah.
I think they're announcing that in 3 days. So
3 days.
Anyway,
okay.
So I'll announce that soon. Based on all those happenings.
Danny's leaving us, and this is the last podcast.
Danny,
No, I'm just kidding.
Danny literally can't leave this. Danny is still going to be here even if he's not behind the desk. So, but that isn't happening. Sorry. That might be really confusing. But something I've gotten really bad about is like the social media posting for Nobody Special and everything else.
I'm bad about that too.
Yeah.
I was the one who was originally supposed to lead that off. And
Yeah.
I did for about 2 months. I was all right at it. 1 month. 1 month.
To something.
I do need to, get... That's
okay,
both
so
of us
I just like
apologizing.
straight up, based on everything going on, a lot of them I just forgot to post.
Mm-hmm.
So to anybody that gave us a pretty good download month, it was actually pretty decent. I'm going to be honest, it's pretty decent. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Y'all are the best. But and Caleb, I know you just got done on a pretty big project also.
Yes, finally.
Are you allowed to talk about that either? Is all of our stuff
briefly about
we
it.
can't talk about?
It's not like I can't talk about it. I don't want to
He's
ruin... I don't want to
engaged.
spoil anything.
Just kidding. Sorry. I'm going to clarify that because you did not repeat
Yeah,
that as fast as I was.
I was working on a movie short film for a church, and I was doing the storyboarding for it. But yeah, it was crazy intense, but I loved every second of it and hated every second of it at the same time. But there were multiple nights spent without sleeping, literally.
Which is
but it's all
super
right.
not good. Now, all right, so this is the thing I had a question about. how many energy drinks total did you drink
I only had.
over the span of? It took about a month.
Does
I think.
coffee count as an energy drink?
Not to me.
Okay.
Coffee's like water.
Well, I had 2 Red Bulls.
Uh-huh.
One of them I had, and I just went insane. It was crazy. And I like texted the person who's the director of the film, and I was like freaking out because I like missed the deadline.
Uh-huh.
And it was crazy. I was literally felt like I was on drugs. It was like.
So you had never had an energy drink up until that point?
I'd had one. That was it. And
So
it was
you
not
had
good for me.
2
And then I
over
had
the
one.
span of.
Well, I've been working on this for about like a month, I would say. But it was towards the end when I was kind of grinding it out really, really hard.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I've had
So-
like 3 in total, which is
It was kind of the funny part because you're talking about like, man, I had a lot of energy drinks, and I was like, oh my gosh, how many did you have? And you're like, I had 2. And I'm like, 2 in one night? And you're like, no, I had just the 1 in one night. Caleb,
Yeah, it
I
got
have
me too.
driven home students on trips, and I've had 2 or 3 on the car trip from
that
Orlando.
doesn't seem healthy. I don't think it's
It's not
healthy to even have one.
It's not healthy, but do you know it's better than killing 15 children?
that's
like,
true.
I'd rather be
Kill myself.
really
or-
hopped up on something
Yeah.
and have children not dead than to like
That's true.
I fell asleep. Now, all right, driving the van for teens.
Yeah.
I think enough time has gone by, right? Super didn't have my energy drinks.
Oh my gosh.
It was like 3 a.m. and I just started to like drift over to the lane. No one else.
Oh
was
my
in the lane.
gosh.
Yeah, it wasn't great. And there was someone following me. Ben had been following me, and I realized I was a quarter into the other lane, and I was like, well, I have to play this off. He's gonna say something. So I turned my turn signal on and just switched lanes.
Uh-huh.
And then he called me. He called me like 30 seconds after that because I told him, hey,
Yeah.
if either of us have to stop, just stop because it's better to take a break and get there alive than not.
Yeah.
All right, so he calls me and was like, Dan, do you need to take a break? I'm like, no, I got a lot of adrenaline going right now. I'm super
I'm awake now.
I'm super awake now. He's like, are you okay? I'm like, now, yes.
3
3
seconds
minutes
ago.
no.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Driving while it is crazy. Like driving while being tired. Like I won't even notice sometimes. Like there's times where we've been late, like recording this.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious. I like woke up the next morning. I was like, how did
I get home? Yeah.
It's crazy.
I've been like going into the office. I've kind of driven on autopilot. Like
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't
I do
remember
that all
driving
the time.
here.
Yeah.
Like, it's super not good. But
It's crazy. It's really
memory's a
creepy.
weird thing.
I know,
'cause
right?
sometimes it's just like autopilot kicks in and the brain doesn't function for the memory purposes, but you get there fine.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, a bit insane. But I think for both of us, the stress is going to come way down. Well,
Yeah.
it's going to come down and then go way up, but in a better way.
Yeah.
For things we can
Well,
talk about, I think,
for
in a
you.
week. Yeah.
Yeah.
In a week, we can talk about that. So that's our stay tuned for next episode, and we'll be able to talk about that. Actually, that would... We'll have to talk about that and whether that would be a good story to tell. Just as a...
What?
Hey, everyone, this is just me talking to Caleb for a bit, telling the story of that whole process. I don't know. We'll talk about it, see what we want to tell.
That would be a good story.
Anyway, so today's July 4th, and some of you stayed up late to watch a certain premiere on a certain streaming service.
Hulu's
My Little Pony season 8. No, Stranger Things, Caleb. Stranger Things is out.
Wow.
This
This is the most off recreation of that
we totally
ever.
nailed it, I think. Caleb, all right, so we just got done watching it because in the similar kind of a pattern of the Thor episode, we wanted to do a bad episode, so we watched things without preparation and then
Yes.
see what we're going to talk about in there.
Yeah. This is just gonna be our raw thoughts, so be
Yeah.
prepared. And we're only talking about the first episode,
Yeah.
which
so,
we watched. while eating Publix subs with Danny's parents. It was great.
Oh yeah, it was. I love Public Subs.
Yeah.
First thoughts on it. How'd you like it? First episode.
I really liked it, to be honest. I mean, I thought it was a good introduction into, what the season is about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we jumped ahead. I think it was 2 years, right?
I think it's just 1 year. I thought.
Sure?
No.
Yeah, I think it's 2
I thought it
years.
was
I
just
thought it was
one.
multiple years.
Anyway.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? Who cares? But
also,
some time has gone by.
let's if you
11
haven't watched
knows
it,
English.
if you haven't watched it and you don't want anything spoiled, even though nothing really happened in the first episode,
Really didn't.
but still, if you're super sensitive about that, then don't listen to this.
Well, no, come back and listen to it.
Yeah, come back and listen to it. Obviously. No, get out of here. We don't want you here.
Unsubscribe from this podcast and never come back. At the end, 11 kills Dumbledore.
It's pretty crazy. And then Dumbledore revives himself to take Frodo back to Neverland.
On the Hogwarts Express.
Yes.
Oh, no, we already did Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Shoot. Oh.
On the TARDIS.
On the TARDIS, yes. No, okay, sorry, go ahead, though. It was.
What was
it
I
was
saying?
Yeah, I don't
I don't
remember.
even
It was an
know.
okay episode, though. It was good.
I mean, well, the first episode's just like returning from seasons. It's typically just
Here's
a
what the
catch up.
characters are doing.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is I like that. A lot of people was like, oh, there's no story development, which is well, actually they did do. Technically, there is story development because it's developing the characters and we're catching you up, the audience.
Yeah. I mean, they had to set up a
so-
lot.
Calm down. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was good. I'm one of those people. I do this all the time with shows where like the first season will be really good and all the seasons after will suck. But I just like to see what's going on.
Right.
So I watch it anyways.
Absolutely.
Like, it's really a good tactic. If you get your first season right, you'll get your people back. Because I'm
Yeah.
a pretty like film, I critique a lot, but if you can get me back like that, I mean, there you go.
As I was going through this episode, the same question came up that's come up in every other season of this show. Every other episode of this show is, where are the responsible adults in Hawkins?
That's true.
Where are they at? I don't know.
There's only a couple of them. You got Hopper and Joyce, and that's about
it. That's it.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I think I said this about the second kind of the I know I said about the second season and maybe the first. Tell an adult. Like, so many of those problems could have been solved by like, tell an adult.
Call the police.
Yeah.
They'll get the military to destroy this freaking monster.
Well, no, the military were kind of the bad guys
Yeah,
first
that's
season.
true.
But
That's true.
it's, maybe don't hide a girl in your bedroom. Tell your mom, this girl, she's bleeding out of her nose. Please don't sleep with my friend's older brother.
Wait, what? I don't know why that just went over my head, but it did. I got the bleeding out of the nose.
Billy and
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That started in season 2. It was creepy then because he was in high school. And it doesn't get better. But overall, I mean, it was a good episode. I was glad to see the characters. I'm going to be honest. Mike, I don't really like him so far.
Yeah, no, they're
I
not
don't
painting
know.
him in a good light.
They're
but
really
honestly, it is a good character development because that's kind of like... he's staying true to what he was in the past season. It's just there's no crazy crap going on, if you know what I mean.
Yet.
This is just seeing them in like their normal environment, and they're all kind of annoying.
Yeah.
But because they're teenagers.
Right. Yeah. How old are you?
I am 18.
Okay.
Hey, I never said I wasn't annoying.
Neither did I.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. You're fine. No, they there was a lot of making out in this movie that just felt a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That was, I'm like, should I be here watching this? I don't. So part of it is Mike and Elle are dating, and by dating they're just making out a lot.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
And listening to music.
A lot.
Some classic music. A lot, yeah.
The odd part is they stopped making out so he could sing music. That didn't make sense, but all right.
He's
But it
just
was,
being goofy.
It was a lot. It was a little bit uncomfortable because they're still children, And I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's
watching this
definitely what
on
it is.
TV, and
Because there's people out there. I shouldn't go into this too much, but there's people out there.
Is this gonna be a
I'm
trunk
just
or
gonna end
treating
it
thing?
there.
This is gonna be the trunk or treating thing we gotta cut.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. You guys
No,
never listen to that.
I have to
but
cut this because they don't know what we're talking
No.
about.
You don't have to cut this.
For Patreon users, there's special deleted scenes.
Oh man, except that's not true.
Yeah,
at
we
all,
don't have
'cause
Patreon.
We definitely deleted those probably.
No, like they started off. They didn't paint him in that big of a picture or that great of a picture. Mike, I mean, sorry. They didn't paint him in that great of a picture. They kind of turned him into this snot-nosed, kind of a sassy,
The classic teenager
rude, like,
who's stealing
I
the
take
father's
back to
daughter.
adults. Mhm.
It's that scenario.
The progression of Hopper, though, love it.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Loved every minute of it. They broke that poor man because he knows how to handle criminals. He knows how to handle bad guys, terrorists, mental things, space-ish aliens from other dimensions. But he
Space
can't.
aliens?
I
What are
don't
you
know what they
talking
are,
about?
or kind of
From
creatures.
the upside down.
Yeah, creatures from the upside down. He can handle all those things. Can't handle a teenage girl.
Oh, yeah.
And
pretty
just
great.
the terror that he had in having to understand, how do I talk to my teenage kind of daughter about making out with a boy in her bedroom and then closing the door using her psychic powers,
Right.
because that adds a certain level of difficulty to the whole thing.
And sass. Psychic
right.
sass.
Yeah, psychic sass. That's our episode title. But it's the progression. It was great to see him panicking and have no idea what's going on, because in the past seasons he's been, to an extent, this Deus Ex Machina of just shows up at
You use
the
that
right
term
time.
all the time, and I have no idea what it means.
God from machine. It's kind of
What?
if it's a trope of, if I get to a door and a key flies down from heaven, that's a Deus Ex Machina. It's like, oh, the exact thing I need has been here the whole time, and it's in me or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of it's lazy. It's a bit lazy.
That's just a term you throw around all the time, and I legit have no idea what it means.
Yeah,
so
you
there
got
we go.
from the machine.
Now I
It's
know.
that the thing I needed happened to show up at the time I needed it,
Right.
and not a moment too soon.
Yep.
Yeah. So Hopper's been that throughout the whole, everything. He's just kind of popped in at the time they needed him. He shot a few things,
Bang pow.
rescued kids and everything. It was fine, but now he's this disheveled, nervous character who went
Yeah.
a little bit crazy and threatened to kill Mike.
It's pretty. My favorite.
Right.
It's like a shot of him top down, laying in bed, like smoking a cigarette. He's just like sweating and not doing good, because you can like hear the radio
Right.
on them in the other room.
Right. He's not saying anything, but he's muttering stuff
Yeah.
and so that I did appreciate that. That was probably, I'm interested to see how that dynamic plays out. I'm guessing because he hates Mike, clearly,
Yeah.
that they're going to have to put that aside and work together somehow to save Elle. That's just my guess.
That's your guess. I bet you're 100% wrong. Just because I like thinking that you're gonna be wrong.
Okay.
Hey, that's how you make Danny feel bad, is tell him he's wrong.
Only if I'm right.
Yeah.
It was a good episode, though. I'll be honest, there were parts of it that were a bit disturbing, a little bit. I mean, just because of the whole
Let's just say it. Billy and
Mike's mom.
Mike's mom.
It was creepy last season. Although he's an adult now, it's oddly creepier.
Yeah.
It's creepy. So,
Let's go to the Hotel 19 swimming pool so I can teach you how to swim. Yeah.
by swim,
I mean,
not.
yeah.
The married women of Hawkins go to the pool to flirt with an 18 or 19 a year old a lifeguard
Yeah.
in hopes that something might happen, which is a weird mind blower of a concept. And then the lifeguard Billy flirts back with a married woman who has, I think it's 3 kids. Three
Yeah,
kids. And tries to get her to go to a motel in the evening
Yep.
for swim lessons, air quotes.
We all know what that means. They just want to swim together.
Yeah. Because
You know?
it was the Olympics, 1985. They're preparing for 1988. And as we all know, that was big for the U.S. in the Olympics.
Yeah. Swimming is fun, for sure.
No.
But
Swimming is not fun.
swimming
until you're
swimming
married.
is fun.
Then you can only
but
swim with your swim partner.
You should only swim with your swim partner.
Only
yes.
swim with your swim
You
partner.
can't go to the community pool and swim with whoever you see.
Oh, that sentence is way worse than you meant it to be.
And make sure you're wearing a bathing suit. You know what I mean?
I don't like any of the words you just said.
Yeah.
I don't like any of them. They were all bad.
They were all bad.
No, so this entire thing though, it was from the trailer. I'm not giving away anything from the trailer. It wasn't in the episode. The upside down creature inhabits Billy because he ends
don't
up.
say that.
It's
Oh my
from
gosh.
the trailer. It
I
didn't even
know.
happen in the episode.
I
It's from
actually
the
didn't
trailer.
watch your trailer, so you did tell that to me, and I was kind of disappointed.
Oh yeah, sorry. Billy's the bad guy. So
Well, is Billy the bad guy?
yes.
That's like saying that Eddie Brock is the bad guy when Venom is like taking over his mind.
Have you read the comics? Eddie Brock is straight up the bad
Well, yeah,
guy.
he doesn't like Peter Parker. Whatever, but I'm saying.
Like seriously.
Well, actually, in the one that I read,
no, go ahead.
in the not the one I read, in the video game that I played, which I know is in the comics, Spider-Man: Web of Shadows, Venom is basically using Eddie Brock just as a host, and Eddie Brock doesn't actually. He's like basically a captive inside there.
True, but in Stranger Things, even if Billy isn't being inhabited by the big thing that hates the heat or something, I don't know. He sucks. Like he's still the guy trying to pick up married chicks and take them to motels for swim lessons. And I just thought that there'd been a ton of things in that entire kind of episode that spoke to giving in a bit in order to that kind of leads to more of a downfall.
Yeah.
This as far as I'm concerned, a good amount of this story is very it's easy to not have this happen. So part of it is the Russians are trying to open up a portal or something to the upside down, although they don't
How
know
about
the
you
thing
just
they're doing.
don't? How about you just don't?
And they get it open a bit and they keep going. And that's going to spur on the story to the next thing.
Yep.
Mike's mom is flirting with a teenager.
Yep.
Good,
And
or,
then she's
like,
leaving her house, looking at her husband,
who is
who's-
taking care
of her daughter. It was just so.
and not the old daughter that's
Which
sneaking out.
I'm
but the
actually,
younger daughter.
I'm a big fan of these plot points because like, they're just real. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like, I'm not one of those people who's, gonna be like, oh, that shouldn't be in TV shows. It's like,
I might hold on before you use that voice.
but, but my thoughts behind it is like, I don't watch. I like to see real characters and real character development in situations that are very real that happen, and they're by no means endorsing it. I have a problem when they endorse it, obviously.
Right.
But they're obviously making sure that she's not in the right.
Right.
Because like they showed that clip
Right.
of, her husband sleeping with the daughter. Like laying down on the recliner while watching
It
TV.
was a cute moment.
I know,
She
yeah.
just totally
And then
left.
She just left the door.
Right. But that's, that's kind of a case. Take her story, just her story, of going to the pool to flirt with a teenager. Okay. Best case scenario, what happens at that? Worst case, still flirting with a teenager as a married woman.
Yep.
Not okay. Best case, like what you end up leaving your husband for the teenager, like that's the best case. This isn't a good thing, but it's all these kind of tiny steps that by the company that this person picked, they took an inch at a time until they ended up in a place they didn't have intention being.
Yeah.
And to me, as I'm watching that, I'm thinking about the effect of, stumbling into sin. I don't think people stumble into this massive.
No. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think a drug addict gets up in the morning and goes, a first day, I'm going to do hardcore drugs. I think they get there over time, just pushing boundaries a bit at a time.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you and I decided we want to talk about a bit is boundaries. That's kind of the theme me and Danny have been seeing throughout, like, all of Stranger Things.
Right.
But specifically in this episode, too. So
especially this episode.
We're just going to try and find, we might be milking it a bit, but we're just going to try and find God in this episode.
We're looking for the SEO, definitely.
And it is fun. I do challenge you, anything you watch or enjoy, like whether it's a movie or a video game you play, it is really fun, in my opinion, to try and see the biblical themes right there. And there's always something. I mean,
sure.
Dead serious. There's always going to be something.
Sure. So I was kind of going through this and thinking about 1 Corinthians 15:33. Do not be deceived. Bad company ruins good morals. And just the idea behind this being that it's easy to chip away a good character by the influence a person carries.
Yeah.
Going to a pool to knowingly flirt with sin is probably not a good thing.
Right.
Definitely not a good. Probably it's not a good thing. They all ended up in a place they were not intended to be. Billy is driving out to a place he should not be, and ends up in a place he shouldn't be, and becomes overcome by a thing that he shouldn't be overcome by, and that creates the entire conflict going ahead for every other episode. And it's all because of these small tiny
choices.
Actions that they made at this point that's going to change everything they do after that point. It's kind of the biggest thing I've always gotten aggravated by is people try and explain things that they know are bad as, well, it's not that big of a deal. You have no idea the big deal that it is or isn't until everything is over.
That's the root of every story and every action or good thing or bad thing that happens in life is choices bring consequences. That's what we learned in our, in the school I was in. We had a theme each year, and that was one of them, I think. But it's like choices, whether good or bad, consequences.
Right.
Everyone likes to bring kind of a negative connotation on them, even though consequences is just the product of what your choice was.
Exactly.
Could be good.
Or consequences, good
could
or bad.
Be bad, yeah. But like, I mean, you look at any TV show or any movie, and that's what it is. Look at Jurassic Park, because he made the choice to make dinosaurs. There's consequences for that. Bad. For sure.
Every time, too.
Yeah.
Like, hold on.
Just learn already.
A quick aside on Jurassic Park. How many times do we have to build this park? I'm sorry. First movie goes sideways. Okay. The second movie, The Lost World. Okay. I'm not counting that because that's Godzilla, and I don't care what anyone says. That movie was and it sucked. It was bad.
What?
So Lost World was bad.
No,
it was Godzilla.
That's one of my favorite Jurassic Parks.
Because it was Godzilla.
No, that's not the only thing that it was.
They brought the big animal to New York and it got out and destroyed things.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it
Godzilla.
has similarities, but it is not a bad movie.
All right.
How dare you?
All that to say,
How dare you?
Third movie. They
really
have to go back and find the people who were trying to get the dinosaurs off.
No.
For reasons.
No.
Well, they had to go find a child.
Yeah.
Why they brought a child to Dinosaur Island? No,
they
didn't
bring a child to Dinosaur Island.
They did bring a child to Dinosaur Island because that guy has the same birthday as me, and I don't know why I know that.
No, listen.
No, he does.
It was his birthday, or no, it was something. But him and his stepfather were not going on the island. They were doing a little paragliding out on on the rim to see the islands, and then something bad happened, and that's what caused them to get stuck on the island. They did not intend to go on the island.
Either way,
you're trying to tear
bad
apart some of
stuff
my
happened.
favorite movies, and I'm gonna get real defensive about it.
Jurassic World. They decide we can do better, and it fails again. It fails.
Yeah.
And people die.
And then the one after that
fifth
was
movie
actually bad.
Was just more of the same, but maybe we could get the dinosaurs. How many dinosaurs do we have to make before we've learned our lesson?
Yeah, they keep on making like some freaking crazy dinosaur. I think the way the books went will be cool if they did. It's not gonna be very child friendly, but where they put human DNA in there, so it's like this human
They
dinosaur.
made Jurassic Park 3 the book.
And that was one of the Jurassic Park books. Was
Lost
like
World.
that was basically the end point was them mixing it with human, if I remember correctly. But
Either way,
it was
stop making dinosaur parks and inviting people to them.
Yeah, it's true. It's
Can we learn? Can we learn? Sorry.
like
Anyway,
getting back on the
consequences,
point.
Boundaries.
Consequences.
I had to get that
I mean,
out.
choices bring consequences.
Yes.
Remember that for your personal life too.
Mm-hmm.
Every tiny choice you make
Right. Well,
has consequences.
It's kind of the biblical idea of reaping and sowing. If I plant apple seeds, I'm probably not going to go and harvest pears. I would say the odds of me doing that are very small.
Right.
People reap what they sow. That is just part of it. If I'm putting all the time and attention I have into studying scripture, going into that, pursuing God, then that's going to be the thing that grows.
Mm-hmm.
That is a biblical concept of reaping and sowing. Now, granted, there is grace, and I'm never going to underscore grace by saying grace isn't a factor, but grace, God promises to protect us, but maybe not 100% of the time bring us out of the consequences of our stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes the biggest teaching opportunity God takes is the opportunity to give us the taste of the consequences of our sin in order that I don't go further into it. Which is kind of a difficult stretch moment, but it does occur.
Yeah. So that's basically where me and Danny saw the big theme. Well, obviously, like I said, it happens in every story, but in Stranger
Specifically this
Things,
one. Yeah.
specifically boundaries, and that's that comes up in many situations in this, because we look at, I can't ever remember her name, but Billy and Mike's mom,
I think she's just Miss Wheeler.
Miss Wheeler. Yeah.
Oh, she does have a name.
Something. But
Nobody
anyways,
cares.
Billy
Starts
and
with a
Miss
K?
Wheeler, they push the boundaries on certain things, and that ends up for them making poor choices. And then we
almost plagues humanity.
we see Mike and 11, not really having boundaries, and for making Hopper comfortable with the relationship. And that's another theme of boundaries.
And also their friends. They made their friends very uncomfortable about the lack of boundaries that they had. They're like, hey, we have to go because curfew. And it's like, it's not curfew. They're just going to make out. And that it damages their friendship a bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, that happens, and anytime someone becomes anytime, because I have many friends, anytime they get a girlfriend, it's just like,
Yeah.
it does put a dampener on
Right.
your relationship with them. But
All relationships take effort. All of them, including a friendship. So if I'm taking time out of this and putting it into another thing, I have to be okay understanding that that's time I'm not putting into this first thing.
right. And it's just, there's so many themes. And then also, like you were saying, with the scientists and how if they had not pushed this far, this bad stuff wouldn't be happening.
Push the boundaries of nature and science and angered God. Like, I don't know how else to put that one. So
It's the Tower of Babel all over again.
and then just then there's Hopper trying to figure out his boundaries as a parent. Hopper's a new parent, and he's trying to figure out, like, okay, I have a teenage girl, and I skipped all the growing together part. I've had her for 2 years. That's it. And how do I be a father to this person who also could end me immediately? And learning how to not overstep, but to parent,
Right.
and to figure out how to do this. And I do appreciate him as a character, but I don't think threatening to kill the boyfriend of your daughter is the best tactic. Now, granted, Hopper had to do it how Hopper had to do it.
Yeah, that's just how he is.
That's just how he did it.
That's how he be.
And it was one of my favorite parts of that episode. It's like, now I'm going to talk, and if you're lucky, I will let you date my daughter. So, Caleb, all right, about boundaries then, because I do think it's important to have boundaries to be able to establish those boundaries.
Right.
What are things people can do to help put the boundaries in the place they need to be, and to put those kind of the safeguards in place?
To have boundaries?
Yeah.
I would say you just need to, before you start, well, I mean, it differs between each, situation.
Mm-hmm.
But say it's like the relationship situation. Before you start a relationship, you typically need to put up those boundaries.
Right.
And keep yourself within them and try not to break them.
Mm-hmm.
And in our situation, you're gonna probably break them. So you definitely need to pray and have,
Sure.
pray for strength from God. But it's like, yeah, just
I think
make
boundaries.
them. Step one, make boundaries.
I can have a boundary in my head, but a boundary is only actually kind of effective if somebody else knows about it. I mean, kind of the same thing on boundaries of countries. There has to be an agreement between two parties that this is and this isn't. And I think part of that...
Oh, wow. I thought I had enough battery.
Oh, did your battery just die?
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay.
We're going to do the
Switching
same
to
thing
that.
we did.
I think... Wow, your battery stinks. I think it's okay to cross in front of us now anytime. We're good. I'll cut this out.
Wow.
No, we'll leave it. All right.
Yeah.
I think part of the idea of boundaries is, comes out of the Old Testament covenants, that God cut a covenant, that there's an agreement between God and a man that this is and this isn't. This is of God and this isn't of God. And granted, the grace that comes out of the Old Testament is that all the consequences of breaking those boundaries, they're taken on by God himself.
Exactly.
The whole thing of the Abrahamic covenant is that the boundaries are made clear but protected by Christ.
Right.
And I think that becomes important. But even in a
Well,
personal...
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Where you gotta pray about it. And sure, I think bringing just outside, like, that gets awfully close to courting, which is a good thing. But I mean, I don't like saying that you have to court. Is what I'm trying to say.
Like when it comes to dating, courting.
Oh yeah, when it comes to dating, like it's good to.
Are we homeschoolers or 1800s Amish?
Dang. Hey, all the people that listen to this podcast, straight up court.
I'm jimming the camera and it's not on.
Yeah.
Stupid. We just wasted that face. Man, who cares? I'm going to lean back in my chair. No one can see it.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Basically, like it is good to have other people, in that relationship. You set those boundaries. Obviously, you need to have them between God, which is the most important one.
Right.
But having those certain people in your life that can point you out on your, I almost said the C word, but I'm not going to.
Garbage.
That means, that's good, because that's accountability on top of boundaries, which is good. And even outside, like you were saying, outside of dating, dating's just an easy example. But like when it comes to boundaries, oh man, I can't think of any other boundaries.
Well, all right, so parenting boundaries too, trying to figure out what's appropriate and not appropriate as a parent and as an adult, because there's two extremes of that. And it was actually, I took parenting classes from a psychological perspective in college, and the two extremes are those parents that, I'm a cool mom, wink, that's poor boundaries, because they're trying to be the cool adult that the kids enjoy. And to be fair,
It's having
role of a
a
parent.
bit loose boundaries.
Yeah. And the role of a parent isn't to be enjoyed.
Like a Hawkins parent.
Yeah, right. Where are the parents in this whole city?
Yeah.
The parent at a time. All right, I'll put it this way: I had 2 interns in student ministry, well, 2 or 3, and I straight up told them that my job is to teach, train, and equip them to do the job as if I could die and they could take over.
Right.
And because of that, it's not always going to be easy or fun, and they're going to hate me at some point. And all of them, I can go to them and ask them a moment that they thought about punching me in the face, and they don't have to hesitate and think about it, like, no, here, it was on this day, I had to do this. But after that, they
that's
were
every day for
stronger.
me.
They were stronger because of it, because I stressed them out and pushed them beyond where they thought they could go.
Right.
They hated me at the time. Oh, and I know this because one of them told me, like, I really hate you today. I'm like, that's fine, and now keep going. But that's part of the boundaries thing. It isn't I'm not there to be their best friend. I'm there to teach, train, and equip them. On
Right.
the other end of that are those parents that are too strict. And there is a give and take, because it is teaching and training and then trusting and growing up and encouraging them to make smart choices as they grow and not make choices for them. At some
Right.
point, all of us have to be able to make our own choices
Yeah.
and grow into being an adult.
Yeah.
There is a boundary there. In Hopper's case, he didn't find it this episode.
Yeah.
He might
tried.
find it. He did try. He tried to have a quote, heart-to-heart,
That was fun.
of which he knows not what that is.
Yeah.
And instead, he decided to just... It wasn't even scream. He didn't scream, but he did that thing that goes beyond, a step beyond screaming, that's scarier, that he's speaking calm, but he has
threatens.
crazy eyes.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm speaking calmly.
You
And you're
can't
like,
see
this
your
isn't
face
better.
again, man.
This isn't better.
You looked at the camera again,
I
too.
did. I looked at the camera again.
That's
It's
fine.
just habits ingrained in me. But, I mean, parenting boundaries, that's another.
Right.
And then boundaries in friendships. I mean, there are... there have to be boundaries in friendships. And I think part of the problem that I've seen in a lot of people is they haven't had clear boundaries in a lot of stuff, and only knew it was a problem after they got well past the boundary that they didn't know they had.
Right.
Their first conversation is, I went too far or something. And I'm like, well, where was the boundary in the first place? Did you talk about it beforehand?
Yeah, I think everyone has, like, natural ingrained boundaries. And that's where, like, I think relationships fall apart sometimes, is you don't actually communicate that to the other person.
Right.
Because it can be all fun and games at first, but, like, once you actually, develop and get to know each other better, and then, get more comfortable, you might be more comfortable than the other person and cross that boundary that you didn't even know they had.
Right.
So I think it's important to, like, with friends, with, your girlfriend,
Right.
Whatever, just point those out.
Kind of friends picking on each other. I mean, that's a good example of boundaries. Everyone has that thing that they're like, don't.
You're right, yeah.
Don't. And if I haven't communicated, hey, I'm all good about the jokes here, just, don't do this. Sometimes it's important to communicate that, and sometimes if I've told a joke, it's just important to walk that back to protect the boundaries and protect the friendship. But everyone has that thing.
Like an example, Franz doesn't listen to all of these episodes, but we are very clear about, like, because we both have, I would say me less, but he has very specific boundaries.
Right.
And so, I try my best to respect those, and if he hadn't, stated those out, then it would have been, bad.
I would have told the joke by now.
Yeah. No, I'm dead serious. And it's like, well, sure, I'm not, like, perfect at that every time, but for the most part, we both, state where we're comfortable going when it comes to jokes, or even just, like, social stuff.
Right.
And I think that has, helped out a ton, for sure. And, yeah, so I think it's very important to state state boundaries. And I don't think no one's going to be perfect at it.
Sure.
I think if you don't, I mean, I think every relationship, someone gets PO'd at some point. But
Well, yeah.
it's like,
That's just all of us
how
are
it goes.
fallible,
Yeah.
sinful, black-hearted people.
Yeah.
So yeah, all of us are going to screw that up. But I think the other aspect of that kind of brings up a good point is don't intentionally try and push the boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
The boundaries are there for protection. It isn't there to kind of tell people they're bad or that they're
Right.
and it's for protection.
Mm-hmm.
And I found the best thing to do isn't to ask, how close to this boundary can I get? But the better question is, are the actions I'm doing bringing glory to God or drawing me closer to Him?
Yeah.
And if I tend to answer positive in those things, I tend to be in the boundaries.
Right.
And if I'm out of the boundaries doing that, then I need to evaluate the boundaries a bit. If in order to go closer to Christ. Now, granted, that hasn't come up, but
Yeah.
If I'm trying to pursue God in all that I do, then the boundaries kind of take care of itself.
Right.
Because God has created this good, perfect kind of system that all of us can be protected in, and that's by coming closer to Him. If I'm pursuing God, then all the other I'm not trying to claim everything's going to be perfect and fine, because that's just biblically not true. There's going to be times that are difficult because I am a Christian, but overall I'm going to be protected because I'm staying in the boundaries of God's protection.
And the funny thing about boundaries too, I feel like there's also like, obviously there's responsibility in everything, but people telling each other those boundaries is super, like, it's being vulnerable, to be honest, because once you know someone else's boundaries, you also know where you can push their buttons, which is I am actually very bad at. Franz would be able to attest to this, because like once I'm upset at someone or I'm kind of annoyed due to something, then I know where to push to get back at them, and it's not right by any means.
Right.
But it is, you need to be responsible once you know someone's boundaries,
Right.
Because it's them opening up and being vulnerable about what bugs them, and you got to be the better man and not
I mean,
push those buttons.
To be honest, I do a ton of jokes at my own expense, just because I've screwed up some boundaries for things. I've picked on people for things that I didn't know they were things they were a bit kind of self-conscious about. So I'm like, okay, for a safer answer, I know that this joke wouldn't bother me, especially if it's said by me to me.
Right.
So I tend to tell those just because I'm not trying to have a giggle at someone else's expense. I'm just trying to kind of share in a moment. So I'm okay picking on me, because that's a lot easier than bringing up a thing and saying it's like, oh, I hope this doesn't offend Caleb because I think it's funny. Though it's like Caleb's nose, or something.
Yeah.
And then Caleb's like, actually, I cry about my nose every night. You're like, neat. I'm gonna go cry myself.
I don't look at myself in the mirror often enough to even care about my features.
But I mean, the idea though is I try not to have a laugh at another person's expense because I don't know their boundaries.
Right.
Now, granted, the closer I am to a person, the more okay I am picking on them. But even that isn't public. I mean, I pick on you all the time, but that tends to be in the car as I'm driving and buying you dinner or something like that. I pay dearly for those jokes, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll buy Chick-fil-A, you big nosed. It's not. I don't know why I'm picking on the nose. I don't know why. It's a normal size nose.
Now I am getting self-conscious, Danny.
I'm gonna pull up a still and just really zoom in on it slowly. Ken Burns affect it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's It's definitely it's important in all of your relationships. And all boundaries go even into like jobs. Like you gotta find what are the, like in filmmaking. What are the boundaries to, I don't know. Can I move this piece of furniture to set up this set, or
and even ethics
for your clients?
Are there things I'm comfortable doing or I'm uncomfortable doing in a job, even though they might say it's part of my job? Like, no, I'm not comfortable doing that.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
That's a character issue, and I think boundaries and character are very tied to each other, that it's almost as if the character determines the boundaries a person has.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm trying to follow God and be obedient to him, then that's going to define a good amount of the boundaries.
Right.
And the cool part is that I don't even have to set them because God sets them in the first place. Like, it's in print, it's in a book.
Yep. Yeah.
I ain't got to do much.
Yeah. It's but yeah, that's a super important thing to hone in and to think about is boundaries, and that even plays into what we were talking about before. Every choice has a consequence.
And good
or
character is corrupted by bad influence. I mean, that's a big part. So,
yeah.
So Caleb, Stranger Things, are you gonna watch the rest of it?
Yeah.
Are you gonna watch the rest of it tonight?
Yeah.
Are you gonna watch it without me?
Yeah.
You jerk.
I'm not gonna.
You big nose jerk.
How dare you?
I found a new shirt.
It's good. It's just gonna be my nose, just zoomed in.
It's just gonna be a tracing, and that's all. It's gonna be very Art Deco, something.
But Stranger Things is good.
Yeah,
you should
absolutely.
watch it.
I'm interested to see where this goes.
Yeah.
Favorite part of the episode?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
I would say my favorite part had to be. I thought it was really cute when they surprised Dustin when he got home from his trip.
Yeah.
And then he sprayed his what is it called?
Farrah Fawcett hairspray.
Yeah, Farrah Fawcett hairspray. And I keep on wanting to call him by the actual actors' names.
Right.
I can't ever remember. What's his name? Lucas? I want to call him Caleb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
In his eyes, yeah.
I'd say I know I've said it. Mine's gonna be Hopper and Mike talking in the car, and just the character switch. That was the Mike needed it. I'm sorry, he was just all high and mighty the whole time. I'm like, Mike needs to be taken down a peg.
Yeah.
And so then Hopper took him down, not just a peg, but the whole board.
Right.
That was good. Grossest part, I'm gonna go to the exploding rats.
Yeah.
That's pretty gross. I'm like, oh, yep, this is happening right in front of me. Camera right in center. So.
Yeah. But it's pretty good. You should go check it out.
Absolutely. And then tell us how you thought the episode had gone. And tag us and Stranger Things.
Why not?
Why not? Let's just do it. Caleb, if they're going to tag us on Facebook and Instagram, where do they go?
You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Nobody Special Podcast. And, you can message us there, too, if you have any questions for us to answer on the podcast, or even if you just want to say hello. And also,
please do. We miss you guys.
And also go to thegospel.com/nobodyspecial.
Yes.
And there'll be a little form page there, which is a more like official way to do it. But, it doesn't matter too much.
Yeah. We just sit around all day waiting for messages to come in. I'm looking at the camera again. It's super not on.
Yeah, we just sit around waiting for you guys.
Yes.
All you guys.
I mean, I wasn't kidding. I don't know why you're doing the fake laugh. So yeah, no, but I think that is gonna do it for us today. Oh yeah, go iTunes. Sorry, iTunes 5 stars. If this is on YouTube, hit the subscribe, the notification bell. Oh my gosh, there's so much stuff. Just share our stuff and enjoy it. That's what we're doing.
And we hope you guys had an awesome Independence Day.
Absolutely.
And I hope that you blew some stuff up, because what else is there to do on Independence Day besides watch Stranger Things
and celebrate our independence?
Yeah, I bet the fire hazards.
Driving on the left-hand side.
I actually bet the fire hazards are going to go down across America due to people staying in watching Stranger Things.
That would be really interesting to chart.
To actually chart.
Someone charts these things somewhere. Send us that. We need it. if you know where it is. So.
All right, that's it for us today, right?
Yes, that's gonna do it for us today.
Yeah, and I'm Caleb.
And I'm Danny.
We are
Nobody special.